The story of the monk's offer to the king. Once upon a time, a king used to rule in a kingdom, and there was no shortage of money or grain in his kingdom. His subjects used to live happily under his rule. One year, there was a severe famine in his kingdom. Crops dried up, and because of which farmers couldn't pay taxes. Due to this, there was a decrease in the revenue, and the treasury started to get empty. Seeing this, the king got worried, and all the time he used to think about how would he be able to provide for his subjects, and how would the expenses of the kingdom be handled. The time of the famine passed, and the situation in the kingdom became normal, but the king didn't stop worrying. He worried all the time, thinking about what if the famine happened again. How would he manage everything in his kingdom then? Many other worries like fear of the neighboring state, conspiracy of his ministers took away his hunger and thirst and gave him sleepless nights. He was troubled by his condition. One day a monk came to his court. The king told his problem to the monk and asked for his advice. The monk said, "This kingdom is the root of your worry. You can live worry-free by giving this kingdom to your son." At this the king said, "But my son is only 5 years old." The monk said, "Then you can hand over your kingdom to me. I will take all your burden and worries." The king readily agreed and handed over his kingdom to the monk. Now the monk asked, "What will you do now? How will you earn?" The king said, "I think that I should do some business now." "But how will you arrange the money for that? Now that the kingdom is mine, means I have the right over the treasury money. You cannot use it," said the monk. "Then I will get a job," the king replied. "Fine, but if you have to do the job, then there is no need to go anywhere else. Get a job here," replied the monk. The king got curious and asked, "What?" The monk smiled and said, "I am a monk. I will stay in my heart only. Staying in the palace, you manage this kingdom on my behalf." The king accepted and agreed to work for the monk. The king started handling the management of the kingdom as part of his job. The monk went to his hut. After a few days, the monk again came to the palace and met the king and asked, "Now you feel hungry or not? And how is your sleep?" "Now I eat a lot and sleep soundly. Earlier also I used to do the same work but couldn't eat or sleep, but now I can. How did this change happen? This is beyond my understanding," the king replied. The monk smiled and said, "Earlier you had made work a burden and used to carry that burden on your mind all the time. But after handing over the kingdom to me, you do all the work considering it as your duty." Friends, whatever work you do in life, do it considering it as your duty, not considering it to be a burden. This way you can stay away from worry.